screen printing away, but I noticed my platens weren't very sticky and I made a huge mistake. Has this happened to you? Stick around, see what happens after this quick time lapse. In the beginning, my shirts weren't sticking very well to my platens, and I had Textac glue on them, so I had to figure out what was going on. I didn't have time. I was trying to get this order done, and so I just poured some glue straight on there. You may have seen that in the time lapse in the beginning. I put a big red X. Don't do that. After some research, I visited several forums, I visited a couple of YouTube videos, and I found out that Textac is supposed to be mixed with at least 25% water. 50% is kind of the recommend. So after I put the glue on, I just went back to printing. And with Textac, I found that you have to let it dry and sit. Otherwise, it's not fully like stuck to the platen. I started printing again. The Textac came out onto the blanks, the shirts. And I was doing a multicolor print job, so print/print in order to be able to do multiple print colors at once. Because if you print and then print the next color and print the next color, it's just going to pick up on the next screen. So you want to print the first color, flash it for a few seconds. I think I was doing like 6 to 8 seconds in this video, and then do the next color. And then underneath my table, I store all of my screen printing screens that I'm using at the current time. I think there were other factors in play here as well, such as my squeegee pressure. It was too heavy or too strong, and that's because my inks probably aren't runny enough or thin enough to be able to run through the screens, and my screens were too high of a mesh count for the handmade inks that I had created. I make my own ink colors using pigskins and pigtails color guides, and she shows you how to create your own ink colors. And in order to do that, you have to mix certain ones together, and I think mine were just a little too dried out. I should have decreased my screen count. I would think it was like at 210 or something, and I should have done it like 180, 110, and that way I could have run more prints. It's all water-based ink. So I think a combination of less pressure on my squeegee, thinner ink, more water added to my inks, and a bigger mesh size would have solved some of the problems, and then it wouldn't have put so much pressure on that Textac glue. I think I still would have picked some up, but not to the extent that I did. I found that between runs of shirts, or between orders or batches, however you want to call it, you want to run a wet rag over the platen, and that picks up the lint, and then the water kind of reactivates the Textac along with heat. So I should have wiped down all of the platens before I started with a wet rag, and then cleaned off the lint. That would have increased the stickiness, and then just gone over with the heat flash just for a few seconds, and then that reactivates the stickiness in the Textac, instead of in the middle of my run applying Textac and keeping on go. I've also found in my research that platen tape helps a lot when you're ready to completely restart with your platen. So these platens haven't been cleaned in probably a year, and what I've noticed is they suggest about a year, depending on how many prints you're doing. Once you start to get a buildup and you can't really get the lint and stuff cleaned off, it's best to peel up the platen tape and then reapply the Textac. So currently I just had Textac onto my platen, which if I'm cleaning my platen and I do something to my platen head, then I'm stuck with it. So if I peel off the platen tape, it peels off the glue and everything, and I don't have to worry about all the scrubbing and stuff that goes with it. So I've linked all of the forums down below that I read and the videos that I watched, and then of course there were plenty more, but these are the ones that had the most useful information. So for bulk cleanup, definitely put the platen tape down, then the Textac on top, heat set, and then you're good to go. And then after you're finished with your run, before the next one, take a wet rag, wipe down the lint, then reactivate with heat. You should not need to apply Textac, if any at all. And if you do, definitely dilute it with water. Otherwise, it becomes so sticky that you can't get your garment or your apparel up off of the platen. So don't do what I did. So now to remove the Textac from the garment or the blank. There were several things that I read that you can apply different screen openers, WD-40 and things like that. There are several reasons why I didn't do that. Number one, I'm using water-based ink, so mine weren't fully set yet. I do the flash to flash in between the colors to just temporarily dry them, but they're not cured into the garment yet. So I use a heat press to be able to heat set my shirts, and they weren't heat set yet. So I didn't want to apply anything that could possibly remove the ink, and I didn't want to wash them because that could also wash out the ink. So I had to find other ways that could remove the stickiness without removing the ink on the opposite side. So I came across duct tape solutions, or just different kinds of tape that you roll up and you put on your fingers and you tap it down. So I ended up using a lint roller and duct tape, and took hours and hours and hours. I think it was like 2 hours, but still, it took forever and my hand was killing me to clean all of that off so I could heat set and finish the order. So learn from my mistake. Please focus on your glue on your platen before you start printing. And as you're going, also check your shirts, because when you start peeling it up, that's when you're like, oh hey, maybe I should stop. But you know, the ink's in the screen, you don't want it to dry, and you're in a mood and you want to go. It's hard to, it's hard to stop sometimes. Now you know how to remove Textac from your shirts or your blanks when you're screen printing. You know how to keep your Textac sticky without using up all of your glue, because that bottle of Textac should last years. So I was definitely using mine a lot quicker than I should have. So that's something that you can learn. And if you're looking at investing in Textac, you're definitely going to save your money if you get the large bottle, because it will last through several years of your business. So if you have any other screen printing problems or tips that relate to this, or you want to learn something new in regards to screen printing, comment below, let me know, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful time creating something new.